All right, folks, we're live. Well, and today I have a special guest with me of Stack.com, and he has a new that damn show. I'm having some connection issues over here.
You're good. How's everybody going? The connection issues because the weather's been crazy. Yep. I'm trying to get the connection with you. It's a little choppy.
Yeah, I don't know why. Sorry.
I wish I heard that, but I got like 2 words out of that.
All righty. I'm from Arizona. From Arizona.
Am I from Arizona?
Yeah.
I'm not from Arizona. I've been in Arizona for about 10 years, but I'm born and raised in California. So, but I love Arizona. Arizona's my second home.
Born and raised in California. How old are you?
Yep. I am 34. Even though I age like milk, people say 34. I look like I'm 40.
When's your birthday?
I am August. August 24th. Oh. August 24th. I'm a Virgo.
So does that make you a Virgo?
Absolutely.
Me too.
The best of them. Yep.
So, yeah, exactly. Sorry about the little connection issues people we got going. It's mine, not his, and I hate it, but I'm sorry. Anyways, let's start at the beginning, Mike. Tell me about where you grew up and what was life like for you when you were growing up as a child.
Well, again, I grew up in California. I grew up in a town called Lucerne Valley. Then I went to Apple Valley. I was raised with my dad and my 2 brothers. My brother Dave and my brother Joe, rest in peace. He just passed away about 6 months ago. I was raised with them, and you know, it was slow. We weren't the richest people in the world, so we struggled quite a bit. But I mean, that built character, and man, it was pretty good. It was the desert, so I went from one desert to another, coming from there to Arizona. So just know when I'm pausing a little bit, I can't, it's because I can't really hear the question. I promise I'm not ignoring. That looks good.
Okay. Well, you grew up with your dad, you said. So where was your mom at?
My mom was here in Arizona. They divorced when I was maybe 2 or 3. So we went with my dad to California.
Okay.
So you know, it was a little different, but it was still good.
Mike, let's take a pause for a
Absolutely.
hold on a second. Don't want to miss anything that Mike says. So just give me 1 second.
Is that me? Don't tell me that's me.
Alrighty.
Is that better?
How we doing?
Yep. If you can hear me, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay, good. So I'm sorry about that, everybody that's watching. Um, so did your dad ever struggle with addiction issues? I mean, were you ever abused as a child? Did you experience anything like that?
You know what I have to say? My dad was a bit of a yeller. He liked to yell at us, and we were like soldiers. But he never abused us, and so I'm grateful for him. He's still out here kicking. He's still in California, and now he's been a drinker, but that's about it.
Yeah. So what was middle school like for you or high school?
It was it kind of sounds funny, but no, to me that I'm older, but where we used to live at, there wasn't a lot of different races out there. So we would be, so I would be like one of the only 5 or 6 Mexicans out there, and there were probably like 3 or 4 black kids. The rest were Caucasian. um, but it was okay. My school actually went from 7th to 12th, so you went to high school when you're in 7th grade. Um, I think the only real issues I really had, which I don't want to say they're issues, but they guess they were if you really think about it. Um, my oldest brother, um, my oldest brother has been gay ever since I could remember. And as I started getting older, and he was leaving high school and I was entering high school, we had the same last name, so he used to always be like, "Hey, you're that gay kid's brother," and that used to always create problems. And then, I never let no one talk about my brother, so me and my brother me and my other brother used to always, defend my brother, and that got old quick, but it wasn't too bad. We started doing, regular kid stuff real young. It wasn't until we got into our teens, about 15, that's when it, went different.
We're around the same age, so being gay was tough then.
Yeah, for my brother.
I know. I'm talking about your brother. I mean, I'm sure he was picked on and bullied every day of his life before it too.
Yeah, it was crazy because before he had passed away, he used to always tell me, just always poke fun and be like, "Man, these people these days, they don't know what it feels like you'd have to hide it and do this, and you couldn't, be out there like they are now, and this and that." So I almost used to look at him like, "Hey, man, are you homophobic and I don't know. But he used to always be like, you just have to roll with the punches. And you know what? That's never stopped him from being a great person. And people used to love him, and he was awesome. So besides that stuff in high school, it faded away quick because we weren't no chumps. We were able to take care of ourselves. So thank God for that.
Yeah, yeah. What about
Yeah.
you? Did you ever abuse drugs or alcohol or anything like that?
When I was younger, because I had when my dad raised us, so when about 15, he had went and kind of did his he because my dad I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a little heavy set. My dad was a real heavy set person as being when I was younger. He had a gastro bypass, and that was a situation because we call him the bionic man. He had so many surgeries. Um, but he ended up, getting healthy. He lost a lot of weight. He actually lost weight so fast that his heart wasn't keeping up with his body, so he had to have the pacemaker in. And but after when we got into our teenage years, because I got an older brother that's about a year and a half older than me, and then my other brother, the one just passed away, he was 6 years older than me. So around that time when he started getting better and stuff was looking good for him, he kind of went off and he met somebody and went and kind of did his own thing, which kind of left us to do our thing, which was okay. I know it sounds bad that people would think that, hey, oh, he left his kids when they're 15 and stuff, but nah, he always taught us how to be independent. But we were from California. We he tried to keep us away from the streets, and the streets found us. So there was, I had friends, and we started, drinking and smoking. There was a time where um, a real small stint where I was um, popping ecstasy every day for like 6 months. Then I started smoking PCP, and it was crazy. But I was able to. I realized I was smarter than a lot of people I hung out with, and knew that. And then I had kids very young, so I had I kind of had used that as a crutch to get out of gang banging and doing all kind of craziness.
I understand. So, like, what age was that you did all that?
From about 15 to 17 is where all the memories were really. So, and I say memories because I feel like after that, I had kids, and from there, I didn't get 20s. I didn't get a lot of stuff. It was more working for the kids and stuff. But I think that um, golden years, and yeah, well, because there wasn't a lot of stuff to be proud of. But between 15 and 17 is where we did a lot of running the streets, partying, experimenting with drugs, and even selling drugs, doing this and whatever, what have you. And it almost seemed like that was I was supposed to be a product of my environment.
Hmm.
Um, and being older and realizing that that's not the way to go. Um, I was able to step out of it. But and then it's kind of sad to see when I go out to visit my dad in California and stuff. I see some folks out there that I've known for a long time, and they're kind of still stuck in that midst, and there's no movement. It's very stagnant, and it's kind of sad, because I think a lot of folks are a lot brighter than being where they're at, and I've seen a lot of good friends go to meth, and so I can be proud of myself, but it kind of hurts for others.
I definitely understand that. So, how many kids do you got, Mike?
I got 10 kids.
10 kids?
I do.
Sorry. Caught me
Yeah,
off guard there.
I know. I'm used to it.
Well, that's all right as long as you're a good dad to all of them and you seem like a stand up guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, having a bunch of kids, it's definitely a a very big story of instead of having one or two kids, but having a bunch of kids and having to always buy in bulk, always
Hmm.
having the bills that much higher, not having a car big enough, not being able to buy school clothes all at once. because just so yeah, it was definitely something that gave me a lot of gray hairs, and
I definitely understand that. How old's the oldest?
my oldest, well, because this always gets people on their timeline. So I'm gonna go ahead and just break it down for you. Um, when I had met my ex, um, I had already had I had already had a son. He's gonna be 18 in August. He's actually a day before mine. Um, but besides him, and then I had with my ex, she had four children, and I ended up raising them for 17 years. So
Okay.
those are my kids. At the time, the youngest was when I started raising them. My youngest was 5 months old, and he's about to be 18 in November. And then they're so I've had them for a long time. So my oldest is 25.
Okay, our kids are the same age.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to a little bit something more interesting. Let's talk about the radio station. When do you start this? Or when do you know that you want to be like be in radio? Like, has it always been a passion of yours, or do you like have some other dream before that?
No, ever since I could remember, my dad used to always well, when I was in school, even starting from third grade, I was in band class being a drummer. And then my
Okay.
brother always played the trumpet. And then even in high school, before we got out of high school, we did some marching band. And even in the teen years, we used to play the guitar and all self-taught. Like I want to learn the guitar, so we learned this and do that stuff. So my dad, I can remember since I've been younger, my dad used to always have the biggest speakers in the world, and he used to play swing music, Mexican music, all kind of stuff. And then all I would do was mimic that music and get better. He said, He's all when you know you're good at this song is when you're annoyed at the song and you don't want to hear it no more. But you can hear you can hit every cymbal, every snare drum, every bass that comes out of that song. So music's always been a part of my life. And then just getting older, as I think I really started getting back into it maybe like at I'll say about 20 years old. That's when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back to this and start doing something I like.
Have you ever been a band, or have you ever been a rapper? Have you ever done any of that stuff?
Yeah, so I was in a band. I was in a rock band. I think in 2007, I was in a rock band, and we played around California, like the Ponderosa, Whiskey a Go Go, a couple of places down in LA in the high desert. So I was always in a band playing music because I played drums, the guitar, and stuff. And then rapping, I always made started making hip hop music a long man, I feel old, a long time ago now. Jeez. So yeah, even now you can search my name on YouTube and I have music that pops up.
Okay,
So
I'm gonna
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
What's the
So
band
that's
called?
the band. Man, I don't even remember what it was called. But we used to always name it the funniest ones. I know one that me and my cousin and my brother did. We used to call it this stale cookie. And then
That's
my
a good
brother
one.
Dave, he used to always want to. He used to always want to have a band and call it a leaking faucet. I'm like, come on, man, you're but we used to always try to do the funniest things.
Those names are catchy though. Oh
Yeah,
my
but
goodness.
that's really what came to the radio shows because when I was doing music and I had a buddy that it was he's about 2 3 years younger than me, and I used to tell him, "Hey man, rap with me," and he started rapping. He really wasn't the best rapper, but I can see he had a little bit of potential. And
Mhm.
then we started making music, and I started making music a lot with this certain individual. And I was like, man, we got to promote this joint. Like we got some good music. At that time, it was still selling CDs out of the back of your trunk. There really wasn't like all this crazy social media or, this and that. So I told him, I said, hey, man, let's start a radio show. Um, and he wasn't for it. Like, he was like, man, I'm just good for music. I'm like, all right, I'll make a radio show. And then I had, explored some options. I seen the one you can do the online radio show and at this and that. So I think I started doing that in 2010.
That's what's up. Have you ever wrote music for anybody?
I have wrote music for I think maybe I think two or three people actually. I know I know. I hope you weren't expecting a two 300.
No, no, no. No, I'm just
But you know
interested
what?
in what you have to say. That's all.
Yeah, a lot of people though. I always tell myself, a lot of music I make. I'm like, man, I said if somebody else sings this joint, man, we be doing it good right now. But
Definitely. Oh my goodness. So 2010 is when you start the radio station.
yeah, I started in 2010, and then I had one of my buddies. He started helping me. He kind of fell off quick, and then I met another friend. I actually met him. One of my sons, my oldest son, was 25. At that time, he was in middle school. I think he was in sixth grade. He came home and he had a paper, and it said, "Giving away free haircuts. Give me a call." And I'm like, "Nah, it's kind of sketchy, bro. A random paper telling little kids to give them a call, but here's
Yeah.
a phone number for free haircuts." So I had gave it a call because I'm like, "Man, I want a free haircut and I want to see what this is all about." So I had called the dude, and he's like, "Yeah, man, come over." We ended up going over there and talking to him, and he started telling me that he used to DJ like little high school parties and this and that. He's about 2 years older than me. So I started telling him about the radio show, and then so I told him, I said, "Hey, man, let's you want to do the radio show with me?" He said, "Yeah, I think it was amazing." So we went, and then me and him started doing the radio show, and his name's DJ Highlight, by the way. Shout out to my guy. He actually he's still doing it now.
That's
Um,
amazing. Yeah.
but we had really kind of blew up in California, where it was pretty good. We started throwing little hip hop events and doing this because I remember when we first started the radio show, it was five people, and the five people listening was my dad, my brother, one of my friends, and my mom. It was like, but then when I started getting people, and it was funny because when you start broadcasting for that, again, there wasn't the Instagram and all the other stuff. So I remember putting ads on Craigslist like, hey, you want your show played or you want your music played, send me an MP3 and I'll play it. So from there, we kind of went bigger, and then we went our separate ways. And then I met, well, not I met, but I had a friend from grade school. Shout out to my boy Mike Nen. Um, we got back in contact, and we started doing the radio show, and then it started getting, it started growing again. We had ended up on New Hits Radio, which they syndicated to about 100,000 people. And then they blessed us with media passes to go to the Grammys. Um, and we were able to interview a lot of people, and at that time that was when a lot of shift in energy because we used to look for people to interview and this and that, and then people started looking for us, and it started kind of going good at that time. So
Okay, I want to go back to when you first started having the idea of the radio station. Like, how many times did you fail? How many times did you hear it was never going to work? Like, how many times were people negative towards you? Like, how did you overcome that?
well, that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm doing the show, bringing it up back, is because I had people would kind of just like laugh like, "Bro, you're crazy. You're always trying to do something." Because I'm known for I wanted to be a painter. I try to have a paint business. I want to do tattoos. I try to do a tattoo business. I want to make T-shirts. I owned a hot dog cart. But my biggest theory always was like, I'd rather be old and say, "Man, at least I did it," versus being
Yeah.
old and be like, "Damn, I should have tried to do it." So with the radio show, it was kind of like, "Man, you're crazy." Um, I really didn't get a lot of. I got some support, but I didn't get the support like I'm gonna help you or I'm gonna share your stuff on Facebook or any of that craziness. But you know what? It never really bothered me because I was doing it to promote my music. I'm like, hey, you know what? And then it kind of started being fun, just talking to different people and doing different things. And I think what my biggest issue at that time though was because I have so many kids was um, it was a financial thing. Like it was
Mm,
like, okay, well, I got to get a microphone, I got to get a laptop. At one point, we didn't even have internet, so my neighbor, I used to live in I used to own a mobile home, and I used to be in a what do you call it, the mobile home park.
Yeah.
And I had a neighbor that lived across the street let me use her Wi-Fi. So I used to always bring the card table out and then bring the laptop and connect her. We had to be close enough to her house, but far enough away from her house so she didn't hear us, but close enough to get the Wi-Fi connection. And sometimes it'll be cold outside. We'd be out there shivering. And and but that was a thing. Like sometimes, sometimes you got to pay for the subscription to broadcast live or to have a certain amount of viewers or to do that and then this and that. And I'm like, man. And at that time, I wasn't really trying to pull from my, from my household to get to that. So it was kind of a little bit of a workaround. But you know what? It was. I can never remember it being, that bad where I was like, no, I'm not trying to do this no more.
Well, that's good because you said something about all those little jobs that you tried out. It's like everybody's trying to find their niche where they belong, like what they really want to do for the rest of their life. So I don't think it's bad that you tried out all that stuff and it didn't work out. I mean, you're just trying to find out what you really want to do. So
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, I would love to get my hot dog cart back. Shout out to the hot dog cart.
it's probably going to be make some money. So
Yeah, I had just got rid of, well, not recently, but like 2 years ago, I just got rid of it because I had moved before I had got a house, but I had nowhere to stay. But yeah, those little things to me, I always thought it was, you know, um, it was my ex used to always kind of be like, You're full of shit." So that ended up being my downer a lot, and that's one of the reasons why I had gave the radio show to um, one of my buddies out here, and I actually met him. He used to um, he used to be a fan of the radio show. When I used to live in California, he was a fan of the radio show, but he lived out here in Arizona, and I didn't even think about living out here in Arizona at that time. But when I used to come out here and interview people and stuff, he used to always kind of be around. And then when it came to the point where it was like um, uh, the entertainment business or the family, I had chose the family. But I had gave it to my buddy. His name is Kid K. He runs it now, Arizona Mixtapes, and shout out to him. He's been doing great, and so that's where it kind of had went stagnant for me. I just kind of have dropped off of being into the entertainment stuff and everything. But recently I was like, nah, new year, new me, 2023, and that wasn't supposed to rhyme, but it did. Um, yeah, so we're doing it now, and I'm excited. I got a bunch of support around me. Um, I got my buddy that's going to be on my show, my buddy Rizzy. I've known him for since I moved out here for about 10 years. He's always kind of supported the show. And then I have Kid K. I'm working back on, and then just people that's always kind of followed me. They're pretty excited. So I mean, I'm excited. I got the back, because when you lose it, when you're like, man, I'm not even trying to talk to nobody, you kind of get bah humbug, and then now it's getting really exciting, and then I got my girl. She backs me up a lot. She always be sharing stuff and helping me out what she can and stuff. So I mean, I really have the support to move forward. And then man, I've been surprised and I'm blessed um, to be talking to you. And then a lot of other folks that are from different different states and areas and doing stuff that are so quick to be like, oh yeah, man, of course, yeah, let's do it. And it's like, man, that's awesome, and that just brings more light to everything.
I do this podcast because you're a somebody and I'm a somebody too. I mean, not everybody in the world knows you like they know the celebrities, but your story matters to me. So that's why I do the show. I
Yeah, and
like
it's
to
much
be the voice
appreciated.
for the little people.
Yeah, and then yeah, that's definitely much appreciated, and we're definitely gonna get you on the damn show, and when we're gonna kind of get into your story and see, but we're gonna save that.
That's a tough one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is about you today.
Yeah, yeah, we're definitely
Like,
gonna get that.
tell us a little bit more about that damn show. Like, what's it gonna include? Like, are you gonna have rappers on there, local rappers? Are you gonna have famous people on there? Like, what's the show gonna be about?
So when I first started Arizona mixtapes, when I what well, let me go ahead and say this. When I started it, it was not called Arizona Mixtapes. It was called High Des Mix, and then we had kind of tweaked the name, and then Kid K had threw in the Arizona Mixtapes in there. But when that all started, and till this day, they have a show called Phoenix Fridays that my brother Dave, he's the founder of that because when I was in California, he always bugged me like, bro, let me throw a shot in Arizona. Let me throw a shot in Arizona. I'm like, nah, man, because you got to be dedicated. Because we were doing it every day, and I was like, every day's too much. Then I just started doing it, on Fridays or Saturdays. But then I finally let him do it, and to my surprise, and I wasn't jealous, even though he said I was. But his show kind of started getting a lot of more feedback than mine was over there at the time. Um, but back to the show. So that show is still on. It's on every Friday, and they really base themselves on a lot of local hip hop, local R&B. Um, Sometimes they get some other different type of musicians in there and stuff. So when it comes to the Damn show, um, Damn is an acronym for my boy Rizzy's government is so it's Darrell and Mike. That's what it is. And I know it's going to come out eventually, but it's the damn show. Um, but you know what? We just me and him, and then a lot of people I've known from the industry over the years. Because I've talked to a lot of different people, comedians, athletes, actors, and then hip hop artists, whether it be legends from the back in the day, like in '92. Um, to up and coming rappers. So I'm kind of gonna let Arizona mixtapes and Phoenix Fridays hold on to that baton of local rappers, and we're gonna you know I'm not saying they'll never be on there. I'm definitely not saying that, but I like to talk to people about their businesses, about or even actors, comedians. Like this first Sunday that we're gonna have it is my boy Ruben Boogion. I actually met him. I came out here to California to do interviews for the radio show 10 years back, and he was one of the people that contacted me for an interview. And ever since then, I'm so proud of this dude. And he became a friend before it was business. Now he became a friend. He's a great dude. He's super funny, and it's crazy because people like that's what is like that gap. When you go to when you get a job and they're like, so we want 5 years in employment, but if you're missing 2 years, what were you doing for those 2 years? Well, me and you, we're trying to find out that 2 years. What did you do? So just say like on Sunday that my buddy Ruben, he started out as a musician. That's how I interviewed him, being a musician, but now he's on tour, stand up comedian. He's been on TV shows, bunch of viral videos, and he kind of just blew up and stuff like that. So we want to hear about those stand up comedians, those actors, even athletes, and then even artists that are anywhere around the country that are doing their tours, and then so we got, and then also um, we have a sidekick coming on here that does like the paranormal. We definitely want to know what's going on with that.
Are
So
you a believer?
it's just a mixture. What was that?
Are you a believer?
Yeah, you know what? I would say so. But I don't know. I feel like if I say so, like yes, then people think I will believe in Santa too. I don't know, and it wasn't a shot at nobody out there that does the paranormal stuff or the psychic or reading any of that. But I don't know. That's the reason why I'm super curious because I've never really talked to somebody like that, and you know so it's about anybody who wants to come in and promote what they got going, their shows or even businesses. I know we have an autism academy coming in April to promote their school, and then they're going to do for autism awareness month, and things like that. So it's you're going to have the up and
Oh,
down where so
yeah. I think it sounds great, and I think it's going to be a hit. To be honest, I don't know. I just get that feeling. So
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think we've kind of scoped it enough where it was like, you know what, it's about that time because I've actually been talking about this for almost 5 6 months, and it's kind of like, nah, I never really pulled the trigger, nah, I really pulled the trigger, but then something made me pull the trigger this year when I was like, you know what, started doing some, homework, and I'm like, I've done this before, like that's the thing, like, like even like the my buddy DJ Highlight that has his show. Um, and then Kid K that also runs the Arizona mixtapes. They were excited to see me come back because they're like, man, you're like super knowledgeable and doing this. So just like I said, having that support, and then just started plugging up with people really quick. Like it never stopped. That's the biggest thing that tripped me out. It's almost like it just never stopped. Like it was so easy to reach out to people and to get these. Like I got, a comedian from California, somebody from Alabama, West Virginia, like all these plugs, and then I'm gonna start trying to link with people I talked to before, like we've talked to Smash Mouth before, we've talked to people from Eminem's record label,
okay.
back down from Goldie Loke from the DPG, from down to the gangster stuff down in Long Beach. It's like people that's pretty known out here, but they're getting older in age, so they're willing to talk. They mesh for a good conversation, you know.
Definitely. Mike, sounds like you got a good plan going on and a good support system, and I'm happy to be here talking to you. I was really happy when you asked me if you could be on the show or said that you would like to be. One of the hardest things that I've experienced is trying to get people on the show. A lot of people don't want to talk about their pain and trauma and the things that they've overcame. So it's been a bit of a challenge for me, but I'm not giving up. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I definitely think that you know and I'm glad you said that because it reminded me of something. I had told my buddy, I said, you know what I think I want to do at the end of every one of my shows is kind of give a mental health tip, because there's a lot of people out here, including myself, because currently I am going through a divorce and little stuff like that, but that stuff shouldn't really deter who I am. It shouldn't break my character. It shouldn't break my strive. And I need to continue to stay who I am, be that positive person in people's lives, whether it's my children's, whether it's somebody at work, whether it's somebody even at a Little Caesars getting a pizza that might be out there tripping one day. And, hey man, so just being out there and continue to be positive, because I've had those moments where just like, man, you kind of get frustrated with the situation,
Hmm.
and you need to have those people that to tell you that it's okay. And I feel like I'm a strong enough individual to not let it show, and not in a bad way, but to be able to talk about it and say, hey, it's okay to stress, it's okay to cry, it's okay to, if you
Yes.
religious, it's okay to pray, it's okay to this. So I told my buddy, I said, hey, I told him, I said, you ever seen the Jerry Springer show? When he used to have a final thought, I think I want to have a final thought, but for the mental thing, he's like, yeah, man, you should definitely. So I'm definitely gonna get that going. I definitely want to eventually drag my brother Dave on here and get him to say a couple things, even if it's at the end of the show or anything, because he's a very positive motivator. He's the greatest salesman that I've ever met in my life. So with that being said, he knows how to get the crowd going. He reminds me of the guy for the Wolf of Wall Street. What's his name? Jordan. I don't remember what his name is.
I remember
Um,
the movie.
yeah, but he's a great motivator, and he inspires me to tell people that it's okay, and we can all work together, and one step at a time just grow. So I'm excited.
Yeah, you look excited. I'm happy for you.
Yeah. And again, like I said, we're definitely going to keep in contact, because I want to make sure that you reach our viewers, and they know about you and then your podcast and everything, because we like to deep dive into people and ask their stories, um, and if you want to tell the trauma, you can. If you just want to tell the good, you can. but I'm gonna, ask you.
I don't
So
feel like I could talk.
I'm
I don't feel like I could talk about the good without talking about the bad. I mean, how do you do that?
That's true, and unfortunately, sometimes that it happens.
Oh, I know
You
it
know,
does.
yeah, it happens quite a bit, and um, I think that we need to talk about both.
I do
You
too.
know, and it can be anything. Sometimes your trauma can be, just eating yourself the whole life. And and being a little couple pounds heavier than you ever always wanted. Like I tell people all the time. I said, man, like I said, trauma could be anything. When I used to be, so I'm still big, but I used to be bigger where it was like, damn, I couldn't even go to the store and be like, man, I want these pants. I used to just go like this and just look at the sizes because you couldn't even see what you wanted to wear because you just had to see what size it was because you get to that, man, that's trauma. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying? Like
it is.
that
It
that
is.
that sucks. And I know a lot of people out there were like, well, do something about it. Hey man, if your metabolism slow, I don't care what if you eat fish every day and work out, sometimes it works slower than the other people and you get discouraged. But
You know what? I work out all the time, but I have a bad relationship with food, so it's a struggle for me too. Like I'm struggling too. So I
yeah,
get it.
definitely.
I get
Seeing
it.
that my girl, she will work out and do stuff, but you say tacos and she's there, so I definitely get it.
I love tacos.
Yeah.
Mike, anyways, it's been a pleasure for you to be on the show, and I can't wait to talk to you again, and even talk to you later on and have you a guest again after the show gets kicking off for maybe a year or so.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely great to keep in touch. And we will definitely, work together again. Like I said, I'll get you on the show again, and then even I got, like I said, I got my buddy DJ Highlight. He has a show. I can plug you with him. He's great
Perfect.
people's, and it's always, and it's because people have different viewers, different
Yeah,
listeners, different ethnicities, all kinds of stuff. So I'm excited to actually have him here on Sunday as well because and then he's excited to. And I think it'll be great for him to be in the show because he actually told me, he's like, bro, after all these years of doing this, after all these years of doing this and being on the radio show and stuff, he's like, I'm actually excited to be on your show and really tell people my story because I don't think anybody's ever asked me.
oh
And I
well,
think
see,
I
there you
think
go.
I think you'll be a great fit because I think that you will dig deeper into this more than I will. I'm kind of, but yeah, definitely. I think that's good to network. It is the damn show. We are gonna broadcast every Sunday. I was gonna do it every Sunday. I know it kind of sounds lazy, but I was like, every other Sunday, so I don't burn myself out. But we got so much. We had an overflow of someone who want to talk and this and that we had to do every Sunday, which is great because I'm actually super excited. It's 10 a.m. Mountain Time, which is Arizona time. Um, and we're gonna broadcast on all the social medias and all that good stuff. And all the social media is damn show 65. 65 means absolutely nothing. That's just all they had left.
Exactly.
So damn.
I get it. Well, everybody, I just like to say if you'd like to reach out to me and tell your story, I'm here. I'll listen to you. I'll put it out there. The trauma you've overcame, the triumphs you're having right now, whatever you want to talk about. I'm non-judgmental because I have my bullshit too. So send me an email, shoot me a direct message through any social media link that you can find me on, and let's talk about it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Okay? Yeah. Talk to you later.
Have a good one.
Yep.